Warning, this game is very dark. There's violence and death involving children and all sorts of dark topics. And if you have a fear of deep water or drowning, listener discretion is advised.
Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where husband-wife team go over all the storytelling, world building, and characters of video games because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and this is episode 82.
Woohoo! Welcome to 82, everyone.
Before we get into the episode itself, a couple things we have to take care of. If you'd like to contact us, you can do that on Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, and Reddit. Links for those down in the description.
Woohoo!
Or through email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that one of two ways. First is give us a great review wherever you're listening.
5 stars. We hope we earned it.
5 stars, thumbs up, whatever the system is.
Mm-hmm.
The other way you can support us is by our Patreon. Going to patreon.com/loretogether to pay a per episode pledge to get early access to episodes as well as access to our Let's Plays and the Unreal audiobook that I am currently doing.
Yeah, you've actually made progress on recording it. We've also made progress on the Let's Plays. We also have ideas for additional
Mini episodes
that we keep teasing about. And believe me, there are many thumbs and many pies right now. Many fingers and many pies when I run out of the thumbs.
All right. Episode 82. Now, you have no idea what we're doing, as always.
No, you teased me that I was going to love this for all the wrong reasons, but that's just...
Let me go with a warning. And if you have a fear of deep water or drowning, listener discretion is advised.
So let's get on with this, I guess.
It's a puzzle platformer.
Okay.
Developed and published by Playdead in 2016.
That's a very promising name.
And we are indebted to one of you guys listening for this game. Thank you very much, Everett.
Oh, this is Game Everett. Wait, so you told me, but I know this title, and it is, of course, immediately slipped my mind, even though I remember Everett getting us this.
This is Inside.
Oh, man. That's right. Okay, Everett. If I feel any pain, I'm not going to blame you. It's fine. I'm going to blame Mystic.
It is a dark game. A very dark game. It is also a highly regarded game.
We don't do dark for dark's sake.
No. Overwhelmingly positive on Steam. 96% of its almost 39,000 reviews are positive.
Nice.
And in terms of industry awards, they're kind of what you expect given the response from players. Best independent game, outstanding achievement in art direction, outstanding achievement in game direction, best narrative, best user experience, and more, including, I found this one interesting, best camera direction in a game engine.
Ooh.
Which you think would be simple given it's a 2.5D platformer. But it's actually something I noticed and commented during my blind hour, which I do for patrons, before delving into the research for the game.
Wow.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, there's not a lot. So there's not a lot of story. We don't actually get any text at all in the game. Period. None.
Well, this is sounding a little bit like Gree in the sense of the way the story is told is more through the
events in the world and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we play as an unnamed young boy, definitely not a teenager yet. Think 7 or 8 maybe.
Wow, that's pretty young.
Yeah. He's got short black hair, wears a red long sleeve shirt or sweater with the left sleeve rolled up to his elbow, black pants, and shoes with white socks. I'm describing this because the overall game has a very muted color palette, so the red shirt kind of really sticks out.
Okay. This is sounding like a twisted version of Daniel Tiger so far, but I'm also jaded because that is Little Buddy's favorite.
Yes.
It's his favorite show right now.
They would never do any of this on Daniel Tiger.
No, it's a PBS Kids show. There's no way they would.
We begin when he slides down a rocky incline into a dark forest. We don't know where he came from before that. So
it feels like the beginning of Alice in Wonderland where she's in the park hanging out with her older sister, and suddenly she sees the rabbit. We don't really need much more context than that. So it sounds similar. We just have to understand this boy is lost in the woods.
Yeah. This is a puzzle platformer, but early on, half of those puzzles are escaping threats or some light stealth. And I do mean light. I hate stealth games. Like,
oh, yeah.
They're not a thing for me. And I found this to be very forgiving. Checkpoints are very generous, and there's something you're missing if you're messing up.
Okay.
Like, I tripped over a branch like 4 times, and I was like, oh, there's a branch. Jump. So,
okay.
We'll see how you deal with it in our stream.
Horribly. It's probably going to go horribly. I'm not going to...
You always say that, and then half the time during the stream, you get further than I did in my first hour.
Well, I don't explore and soak in the world as much as you do. And also, the way my anxiety goes when I'm playing a game that I know I'm not good at. I'm not saying I'm not even necessarily enjoying it, but I know I'm not good at that kind of game. My anxiety causes me to want to rush further and further. That's essentially what happens. So,
all right. While running through a forest, he encounters masked guards with flashlights, and we mean like creepy masks. They're completely white with just 2 small holes for eyes.
Yikes.
The guards are on foot or in vehicles. Those come with mounted spotlights. Those are fun.
That sounds scary.
And where you find human guards, you can also find the canine variety.
No. Why is it always the dogs?
Oh, they are vicious, and they typically chomp down on the neck.
Why do we have Resident Evil style dogs going after this poor boy? This is not right.
Not that the human guards are any better. They shoot tranquilizer darts at range, and up close may do anything from choke the boy to drown him, depending on the scenarios.
Wait, what hellscape are we in right now?
It's very much a hellscape.
Yeah.
It is very much a dystopian game.
That is so scary. That
mild spoiler, I'm not 100% sure if the ending is a good one or not.
Oh no. This is sad. This kind of reminds me of, so we were talking about books on tape that you should listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I should say audiobooks because not everybody's going to understand books on tape.
Wow, okay, yeah, that is an old term now.
It is an old term. So anyway,
kids, ask your parents.
Yes. So
actually, kids don't listen to this episode.
this episode not suggested for children. Audiobooks. We were talking about ones that I think, Mystic, you would like. And one of them was World War Z, but I told you you're definitely not going to get the full book in there because it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of telling you that, I ended up, rereading a really short chapter of what was called a feral child, who essentially was explaining the situation of how she got lost from her parents. And the way she describes the story, you can tell that basically she ran away from the church they were hiding in because everybody else there was doomed, and her only chance was to run.
Oh, jeez.
So it's super scary and intense to even think about that. And now, when the way you're describing this game inside, it sounds like this game is literally the concept of being one of those feral children trying to survive during the zombie apocalypse.
There's definitely some twists.
Oh, man. Okay.
One of the first things we run across is a bunch of people being crammed into a semi-truck by the guards.
This is sounding more and more like zombie apocalypse.
Basically, not good things are afoot.
Yeah, that sounds... Or, you know what? It sounds like other horrible things that actually happened in history that I'm not going to talk about right now.
We'll get to all that fun stuff. Eventually, there's a big chase with guards chasing the boy, and eventually they sick their dogs on him, and they are hot on his trail when he manages to escape, leaping from a cliff into a pond below. Swimming to the other side of the pond, he then crosses a road where a block has been set up with more vehicles and guards, and eventually comes to a farm.
Oh, man.
We crossed through a creepy cornfield that reminded me of the Lost World Jurassic Park, if only because I was kind of scared guards or dogs were going to crop up, and the only hint would be moving corn stalks.
I remember that scene.
Yeah. It's like the one scene in the movie that everyone
Don't
remembers.
go in the... Oh. I remember that. We're like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
We emerged from the corn to find 2 things. First, we seem to be attracting baby chickens to us.
That's cute, but also sounds like a great way to attract guards.
Second, there are a lot of pig carcasses here.
Yeah, this is sounding a little bit like a plague. Also, we didn't find any corn to eat?
There's corn. No, we didn't find any corn.
Okay.
The chickens help us get through to the roof of a barn.
Chickens being helpful to actually help a human just sounds so out of character to chickens.
We generally don't spoil puzzles. Suffice to say, the solution is interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I felt bad.
For the chickens.
Yes.
No.
From there, we have to jump into a cart full of dead pigs. But this pile of putrid porcine seems to have things moving about within the bodies.
Like what, Mystic?
Well, landing in the cart with the bodies, we can see that wormy shapes wriggle out from them.
So gross.
Yeah, it was not a fun experience. Either way, safe on the ground, we wade through a huge slurry of mud when one of the dead pigs awakens and rushes us.
So it is the zombie apocalypse. What the heck?
Eventually, we knock the pig out by dodging it as it crashes into a wall. Up until now, pretty basic platformer.
Yes.
Run, jump, climb, grab or move boxes and such to get up ledges.
Avoid the living dead. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Basic stuff. Now that we come to the next thing, in the background, there's curled up albino humanoid shapes, as in they're stark white, crouched down and seemingly at rest. And there's a helmet hanging from a cable. We put the helmet on, two things happen. First, the boy gets stuck to the helmet, like hangs there in space from his scalp. He can get out. It's a weird effect. Second, all the humanoid shapes stand up. And now, how he moves is how they move, though of course he stays stationary attached to the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
So controlling these albino humanoids really ramps up the puzzle aspect because there's more of them and you can do things like lift things or push things and stuff like that.
So suddenly we're kind of playing a version of Pikmin or Lemmings.
A very twisted one, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to break down every puzzle that we go through here. We're just going to cover the events.
Right.
The next major event, though, is we end up in a seemingly abandoned city, though we do see some lines of active infrastructure, like an elevated train going past. So perhaps an abandoned part of the city might be more appropriate, or the evil facility, quote unquote, is larger on the surface than some people suspect.
Oh, okay.
But the boy ends up in a line of zombie-like people.
Huh.
Like there's a line that's just like everybody moves at the same pace, and they march in step past groups of people with their kids.
Wow.
Family day buying drones? I don't know. But in that line, we have to do things like jump and turn in sync with the other.
Wow. And just so to stay hidden, essentially.
Yeah. And basically, we're forced to do our best to pass inspection from like this robotic camera that's watching you and guards that are watching. And it'll tell you when you do it wrong. It'll blink a little bit and be like, hang on, let's watch closer.
Yes, exactly.
However, dogs can sniff us out.
Oh.
And there is a dog. I'm going to give you one hint to avoid frustration. When the dog starts barking, run.
Just run. Don't even try to keep hiding. Okay.
Because I sat there like, okay, stay calm. And it's like,
the dog will bite you. Okay.
Yeah. No, kill you. Wait.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot. This is a gruesome game where we're
Yes.
okay with, I shouldn't say okay with, but where the story calls for killing the child. Okay.
Yes. Running from the dogs who make us, we are saved by dangling above a deep drop by our scalp.
Wow. So this mechanic's going to come in handy a lot.
Yeah, I have no idea if it's actually like pulling on the scalp, but it holds onto the boy's head somehow. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This does lead to one interesting puzzle. Not to give away the solution, but mildly give away the solution. We can find out that the things that were mind controlling, if they put on a helmet, they can control something else.
Oh.
Which is kind of mind blowing.
So you can motion for them to put on a helmet, and then one of them is able to control
another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting.
Right? We dodge a bunch of spotlights, more dogs. Everything is a bit think on your feet.
Okay.
Eventually we end up underground in the subways, and then further on, we steal a submarine.
We all thieving a yellow submarine. Sorry, I had to.
No, you didn't, but you still did.
I did it. I did it for you, Mystic. It was all for you.
Down here, it's like an iceberg, basically. The buildings up in the city above are just a hint of what's below. There's so much stuff down below the surface.
Wow.
Everything down here, well, not everything. A large chunk of this area is flooded and dark. And a nice little touch. I like the little flecks in the water glint in our lone beam of light.
Huh.
So like there's that sediment suspended in the water.
Nice.
Eventually, we surface in an air pocket in this long-abandoned laboratory and begin exploring the overgrown, decayed, and tilted buildings.
Oh.
This area has a lot of buildings like at an angle and everything. So we have to make paths for the submarine and everything, raising and lowering water levels because of course we do.
Gotta have your water temple portion for the puzzle.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Busting through one underwater door with the sub, we finally come face to face with our first long-haired creature, nicknamed sirens or mermaids.
Oh.
They are repelled by the light of the sub, our lone little beam.
Huh.
But if they manage to catch the sub, they will break the glass and the boy will drown.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I hope we don't get this far through the Let's Play because it'll be me just freaking out going, no, no, no.
You're going to do that with the dogs anyway.
Oh, yeah, that will be me with the dogs.
Eventually, we're able to leave the sub and find ourselves in the mines. We need to gather a bunch of the albino humanoids to get through a door, and here we actually have something I can't actually explain. We get a mind control helmet.
Okay.
The cable breaks, but the thing is still glowing and still controls the drones.
Wireless power?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I really can't explain it. Literally, you jump, you put it on, and it snaps. And you're just able to still control everything. I don't get it.
Interesting. Okay.
If it was later in the game, it might make, I don't know. It makes some sense, possibly. It just doesn't make sense here.
I just wonder if it's similar to like in Hellblade where there was the lie that you believe kind of metaphor going on. I wonder if it's something similar to that. But you're going to tell me what the bigger themes are after this, and we'll see if that has any weight to it.
Getting through the door that we needed to, basically, I'm bypassing a ton of platforming and puzzly stuff.
Yeah.
Getting through the door, finally, we get to a very tense but very cool part of the game. It's called the Pulse. About every 6 seconds or so, you'll hear this deep bass pulse, and you'll see a flash of light in the far distance. Actually, reverse that. You'll see a flash of light, and then, like, you'll have a delay, and then you'll hear the sound.
Oh, speed of light, speed of sound situation.
Yeah. And if you're out of cover when this wave hits where you are, you're vaporized by the pressure wave. And no matter where you are, it breaks the helmet that you have on still.
This is such a dark game. Like, there's never... It's one thing to, you're going to get injured. It's another thing that, like, every bad move is instant death.
Every bad move is instant death. But it's very forgiving in learning about your bad moves.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. The fun thing, though, is earlier in the mines, and actually even back outside when you were still in the sub, like if you were out of the water, you could very slightly hear the pulse.
Oh, so there's always been a hint that this part was coming.
Not always, but like when you got into like this sector of the facility
where the water is,
you had like that slight hint of it.
Okay. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, and then when you enter the mines, you start to see things like signs move with the pulse.
Wow.
Even though it can't affect you yet, like just the pressure change slightly
it's just
makes
enough
things,
to affect things that are weaker than you, so to speak.
And it's just great sound design and game design.
Right.
And it gets even better. Eventually, the pulse stops being audible as a single distinct beat and seems to somehow become something more. It's kind of like a confluence of the visuals and the time delay and the fact that stuff gets thrown around and you have to dodge from safe spot to safe spot because the sound itself almost sounds like a chord at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Crazy thing, we have no idea what the pulse even is.
That sounds like one of those mysteries, though, that you don't need to solve in the midst of the game. Like, it might be fun to theorize as a fan.
There's a bunch of theories.
I'm sure, but at the same time, it's not anything you need to solve right now to be able to fully enjoy the game.
Yeah. The most likely theory I saw, at least to me, was that it's a sonic weapon of some kind.
Yeah, that considering the violence in this world, that makes sense.
Well, not just that. We also see like test dummies strapped to chairs. Like, yeah.
Okay.
So, moving past the pulse chamber, we get into an elevator, only for the pulse to completely wreck its dilapidated tracks. We plunge into the water and have to swim to safety. Though more water awaits soon after with more sirens.
And do we have no flashlight at this point?
And we have no flashlight. We have no sub to protect us. Basically, you have to swim for your life.
Oh, man. So more me going, no, no, no.
Yeah. A few more of those happen, and then the unthinkable happens. A siren pulls the boy deep underwater until he drowns. After he dies, we'll see the creature giving him some air via mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and attach a glowing plug-like device to his chest. The siren leaves as the boy sinks deeper and deeper, coming to rest on the bottom in the glow of a bright light still on in the ruins of the laboratory. A moment later, he flails and can now breathe underwater.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the siren's ability, it's almost like vampirism.
A little bit? I don't know. That's a good theory, though.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand that there's myths of sirens and mermaids being actual monsters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, how did they get to be that way? That could be a way.
Around him in the water are strange floating blobs. Basically like experiments gone wrong type stuff.
Oh, this is scary.
Yeah. Fish are all attracted to him, much like the chickens earlier.
Are we going to start sacrificing fish too?
No, actually, the fish never actually come into play in the game. They're just kind of there, like, attracted to you. As far as I know, I don't think they ever come into play in the game.
Now, I imagine them as like the little alien toys from the Toy Story series. The claw.
And scattered over the bottom is a bunch of VHS tapes, like lab tapes.
Are we in a lab that was located in an abandoned Blockbuster?
Well, either way, the experiments here are old, given what they're using to record them.
Okay. Oh, okay. That the VHS tapes are the recordings of the experiments.
Yeah.
All right.
Swimming through turbine channels, which is harrowing, we find dry land, and we're back to a more contemporary facility where we're dodging lights and such again.
And we're able to still breathe on land as well as in water now.
Yes. Well, that'd be interesting if you couldn't breathe on land anymore.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to work out.
Because the sirens will not chase you out of the water.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does. It feels like vampirism. Like we've given you the affliction, so now our need for you is done.
So the interesting thing about that is that siren is the last one you will see in the game.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, you never see another siren after that, as far as I'm aware.
I wonder, okay, you're going to tell me some theories later, but I want to get back to the siren idea because there's some interesting ideas that are already bubbling up in my head about what that could mean.
After we get to dry land, we get to a place that of course reminds me of the Book of Atris because the water is suspended above us near the ceiling.
Oh.
Which Atris sees when he first goes to Riven in the Book of Atris.
I was going to say, did Catherine write this world? What's going on?
I hope not. It's really dark for Catherine.
Yeah, I mean, she's dabbled in some dark stuff, though.
Yeah, episode 10 for Book of Atris, by the way. Mm-hmm. Less like Riven, though, is the disfigured albinos up in the water, each tethered to a computer on the floor where we're standing. No idea what the computers are. They are old, resembling a VAX-style system, which was first introduced in the 1970s.
It's either that or we're in the Fallout universe. Mystic ponders and considers the option that this is the Fallout universe.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
So many theories, so little time.
Eventually, we make our way up into the water to swim around amongst the disfigured and sometimes still moving bodies.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to almost hurl on camera. I shouldn't say on camera, on mic. But still, oh my gosh.
So here's the thing. I don't know if they're all actually dead, but there are like ones with no head
that are moving still.
Yeah, so my theory is that the parasites in the pigs, because there were the worms in the pigs, and the drones that we see kind of moving around and everything. This was possibly linked to mind control, and in this case, possibly reanimation using the computers.
The computers, but you don't know you don't know if the worms have come back or not, and they're part of this process. Like we've microchipped the worms.
I don't think we see any other worms. We might have. I don't know.
Okay. I just keep trying to tie things back to what I've seen before. That doesn't mean it's necessarily how this world works. It's just where my brain goes.
That's fair. We swim around, open a door, and then we get to another bit of weirdness. It's family drone purchasing time again, as a whole cage of drones are carted off by a forklift, piloted by a drone, while an adult and a kid watch on.
Whoa. Okay.
It's weird. We play more tricks with the gravity-defying water, and then we get to a strange room, as if like none of the other ones have been strange. The camera is outside the room from the boy.
Okay.
This is like the only time this happens while he plays with the water levels and stuff. So there's no sound. Everything, like we don't hear anything that's going on with the boy, but we can see it. And there's like the outline of like a window. So we're behind glass from him or something. It's strange.
So you're basically almost watching him on a screen, as if now...
Or watching him from an observation room or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, now you're the observer. Is he the experiment? And we've been observing how he's going to survive this whole time.
Well, wait.
Oh, no.
But yeah, like somebody's watching him, or it's just odd that the camera is distant from him this one time.
That just feels really invasive and gross now.
Yeah. And yeah... Like throughout the whole script, I know I use boy, him, we, and us interchangeably. I think every episode I start with a character name and then eventually becomes we and us half the time.
I know. We do not we do not have an editor that's keeping us to a certain writing style as if we were a magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to listen to a podcast, you'll get that there, but we don't have the bones for that now.
If you like us, visit our Patreon.
Literally read my mind there. That's what I wanted to say.
Anyway, moving on, we have sound again.
Yes.
The camera isn't separate from the boy anymore. We swim in more suspended water with more albino suspended in it, and below us is a guard or a scientist working on one of those VAX computers, while another watches from a doorway.
Oh, wow.
Once they leave, the boy raises the water level, which moves... Since it's up at the ceiling, it's like we're raising it, but we're lowering it if it was... Whatever. Either way, all the bodies are now out of the water, and they all flop down and get disconnected from their machines. And they all flock around him like the chickens or the fish did.
Oh, no.
And like I said, these are... disfigured ones. Some are missing heads, and yet they still follow us.
Yeah, so there's something in the bodies that make them attracted to this boy.
Yeah, but like whatever the siren did to us, we have no helmet on. So whatever the siren did to us has these strange effects. And I'm not sure what to make of the baby chicks in the early game, whether they were controlled or whether they were simply following us for food. I mean, they're baby chickens.
Or maybe the helmet was teaching us what to do, and now we no longer need the helmet anymore.
I suppose that's up for debate. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it is up for debate, because this sounds like it's got enough vagueness to it that there's multiple theories.
Oh, yeah. There is not even a theory of what the ending means yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, there are theories, but there's not a concrete evidence of anything with the ending or the meaning of this game. It's kind of their shtick.
That they vague suggestions of themes, motifs, and all that stuff. Okay.
The albino drones are also nearly indestructible.
Okay.
Like, there's a chasm. Basically, it's a long shaft. I don't think it's an elevator shaft, but I can't remember what it is. That if the boy falls down without something to cushion the fall, he dies. But the drones simply ragdoll down there and they're fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
in
fact, they have to go down. They
right?
have to go down there first so they can catch you when you fall.
And they're bigger too, right?
They're adult sized.
So they could possibly take a fall better.
But you see, you almost never see any ill effects from them. Like literally, when they all dropped out of the water.
You mean no ill effects on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when they dropped out of the water, One, I swear, one looks like it just cracks its neck and it just like gets right back up.
So that's what you mean by indestructible. They possibly could have injury to their body, but they don't react to it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, whatever's animating these, I'm thinking of now as like animated corpses, and whatever's animating these corpses.
Yeah, like I said, reanimation.
Yeah, it's zombies. Zombies.
Yeah. Eventually, the boy and his squad of disfigured drones all end up in an absolutely gigantic chamber. From a higher vantage point earlier in the level, we could see people rushing into the building at the center of this chamber.
Okay.
And now we leave our squad behind, squad of
drones. Okay.
To enter this building ourselves. Inside, we find a bunch of cubes set up with folding chairs outside, like observational laboratories where disfigured drones kind of creep about.
Huh.
And when we run kind of through this area, someone notices us, an adult male with a tie, so not a drone.
Okay.
And he runs past us, looks at us, and again, people are rushing to something. And for the first time, someone doesn't kill the boy when they see him.
Wow. Okay.
And then, continuing on, we find that he is running along with a bunch of other scientists to look into a chamber. And like before, a few notice the boy, like literally just look at him as he walks up to the chamber. But whatever's going on in that chamber is far more important than the boy at this point. They do not care.
Wow.
So climbing above the chamber and around to the other side and going all the way down and everything, we find a way into the chamber from below. A turbine pushes the boy up into the chamber and shreds his clothes. Don't worry, nothing indecent.
Oh, wow.
Basically no red shirt anymore. He's just like flesh.
Okay.
And I think boxers maybe? I don't know.
We'll say yes.
Yeah. This is the chamber that everyone was looking into. Basically, we can see them all arrayed outside the glass.
So, and are they looking down into the chamber?
They're looking directly at you, like.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like a spectator at, say, like a soccer field without a raised seating area.
Think of it more like an aquarium.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, a bunch of people up against the glass.
Right.
At mid height of the chamber.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So, swimming to the middle of the chamber, we see a hideous monstrosity of flesh with weird tendrils and arms poking out of it.
Do we think that's what all those people who were running in became?
No. All the people who are running in...
We're running in to look at that?
To look at it. Yeah. This is the Huddle.
What?
Yeah, it was named after the game came out by the developers. That's when we found out the name. It's also called the Blob or the Meatball.
Yikes.
It is a mass of combined human flesh and organs.
Ugh.
It's got 4 mind control, like, nodes or helmets or whatever, the same thing that we put on, like, jammed onto it. And when the boy removes one, a hand kind of forms and makes a grab for him.
Oh, wow.
And then pulls another one off, and the same thing happens. Pull the third one off, and the boy gets grabbed and pulled into the huddle and absorbed. And
Yikes.
now we can control the huddle itself.
Oh, my gosh.
The huddle moves up to the glass observation window and using the mind control interface box kind of bursts the glass open. The water comes pouring out. The scientists run all over in alarm and fear as the huddle is now free to move around.
You're now free to move about the cabin.
And the thing is gross and horrifying. It walks on legs that just form from its bulk.
This is sounding a lot like a combination of The Thing and Akira in just a lot of really disturbing ways.
And the fun thing is, it doesn't matter which side is up. It just has legs and stuff on the bottom side. Like, it can ooze and roll around. It moves like a gelatinous cube, like, over ledges and stuff.
Somebody thought to themselves, wouldn't it be cool if, like, human bodies could become slugs? And this was the closest they could get to.
It crashes through everything without a care. Guards will put gates down, and we just sprout a bunch of arms and just just lift him, like, rip him out of the doorway.
Okay, I haven't seen this game yet, but I imagine somebody out there, you become absorbed with the huddle, and there's a supercut of the invincibility music from, like, a Super Mario or Kirby playing as you run around and do all of this stuff.
We eventually make it back to our squad of disfigured albinos, and now it's time to run amok. One video I watched called it the ultimate creature.
Oh, man.
Like, it's carrying a box, it trips, the thing just kind of oozes over, and more hands sprout under the on the new top to keep carrying the box.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, it's fast, it's strong, it's tough, it's just damn ugly. We rush to the actual offices now, disrupting everything. We bash through what looks like a cafeteria, sending tables and chairs flying, people scattering all around us. We bash through a wall and end up face-to-face with the CEO of this facility.
Who's just, I have this image of him, like, since he's coming from the cafeteria, he's like, I was just trying to finish my tomato soup with a cheese sandwich, and here I am.
Rushing him, we just plow through the wall with him, falling a long way down, turning him into a discoloration on the concrete below us.
Yeah, if you're the actual CEO of a company that makes something like the Huddle, you should have seen this coming.
The dogs are sent away, but even the dogs don't know what to do with this thing. They just kind of bark, but don't attack.
He protect, he attack, but most of all, he huddle confuse.
I don't know.
That's so crazy.
Then we get one of the funniest things to me. Like, it makes sense later on, but as you're playing it,
this is weird. Funny in the absurd, grotesque way, and in like a Cronenberg way right now.
Yeah, very much Cronenberg. So there's a door we can't bust through. It looks like it's reinforced. The wall is very thick and stuff. And there's just this dude who watches this ungodly terror try to go through, and then just runs to the control panel next to the door, opens it while looking over his shoulder like he's checking his eyes didn't hallucinate a 20-foot blob of arms, legs, and oozing flesh behind him.
Oh my gosh.
Getting through that door, there's a helpful guy who opens a hatch in the floor. You know, how nice. Of course, you know things are going to go off kilter again.
Yeah.
We end up in a room where a bunch of people and what looks like kids as well are watching the blob as it tries to reach a suspended thing that we need. Suddenly the floor drops out and the blob is back in the water and the top of the tank closes above us.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. The blob wrenches out of the tank, basically pulls out a vent or a grating, and crashes through a few more walls before finally rolling down a hill with trees and rocks before coming to rest on a beach in the sunlight. Roll credits.
This poor kid just wanted to swim at the beach, and that's the best he could. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so...
Wow.
Yeah, so...
There's a lot going on.
Let's discuss a couple... There's an alternate ending that might explain a few things.
Okay.
As best as we can explain, because so much of this game is open to interpretation. So the alternate ending happens when we unplug every single mind control node in the game. I kind of glossed over. I didn't even mention them. There's 13 little nodes. They're kind of like circular things you can unplug. They're in hidden areas. They're way out of the way.
But so you have to know that they're there, and you have to...
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one's not hard to find. They're not all hard to find, but like some of them are like you have to go out of your way to get to them.
Yeah.
And if you get all 13, and you're not going to know until the end of the game if you missed one because there's like a readout of like all of them, but you get to a secret bunker and unplug the last one. And as soon as you unplug that last mind control node, the boy freezes in place and hunches over just like the mindless drones we were controlling through the whole game.
Oh, wow.
So the theory I've seen around is that the Huddle wanted to be free.
Oh.
And controlled the boy the whole time. Which is why the boy is able to do things like control the submarine, control the cranes, navigate the whole facility.
He is essentially a conduit to control these masses for the Huddle.
So when we pull the last mind control node, the Huddle can no longer control the boy, and the boy might have been experimented on or has been exposed before the game even began. We will likely never know.
Right.
Did you have any theories? There's one more thing I want to mention, but it's not related to any theory for the game.
Well, just the idea that the sirens are in on it. Like, that's the part that makes me wonder if the Huddle really is controlling the boy, because
I think there's a gradation. I think the pigs are early experimentation of mind control, and then we get to controlling people, and then we get to reanimating people, The sirens may just be a weird offshoot, or maybe trying to do
a genetic splicing thing.
Yeah,
possibly?
or maybe trying to do something like in vitro control or something weird because they're only in water. Who knows?
Yeah.
The huddle. So here's the thing: there is the beach we end up on. There's a small diorama of it.
Yeah.
That the huddle ends up falling into at one point. And so another theory I've kind of seen is that they wanted to kind of test the huddle. Like, that's why you are able to, like, through the puzzles and stuff, it's like, can it problem solve? Can it do this? Can it do that? Does it have morality? So they're kind of testing it, and we end up on the same place that they wanted it to end up for some reason. No idea of any of that. There's nothing confirmed on anything. I've given you everything that's in the game as far as I'm aware.
Right. But also we have this idea of outside of where the experiment is happening, there is a world full of violence, and also it sounds like normal people are being shuttled around by this police force.
No idea.
Dogs investigating.
No idea. We have no idea what is outside that forest.
Well, we don't even need to know what's outside of the forest per se. We just need to know what's within the forest that this boy is interacting with before he becomes the huddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know what exists outside of the forest, farm, and facility.
We just know people being put into a truck and shuttered away. We know of dogs hunting for undercover sentient dead people.
Yeah.
We know of worms and pigs that reanimate them. We know of...
I don't know if the pig was... So here's the thing. I don't think the pig was dead. The one that rushes us. Because we pull the worm out.
Yeah.
And then the pig, like, we can move it and it, like, makes noise and stuff still. So it's not dead.
Okay.
Yeah. It's docile, but it's not... I don't think it's dead. Or at least that one isn't dead.
That one wasn't dead. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are worms moving meat?
Yes.
I mean, this sounds like...
A horror show?
Yeah, it's very much kind of a play on, well, if you mess with nature too much, then the only thing that you can hope to have comfort you are the monsters of your own creation. I don't know. There's so many different things you could think of, and this is of course me thinking it up before I play the game.
Right.
So I don't necessarily know what I actually will take away from it once I play our live stream hour.
Yeah. So there's one more thing I wanted to comment about the game. It's nothing to do with the game itself, but I just can't let this kind of sit because it's the weirdest thing I've ever heard for a promotion.
Oh no.
Or not a promotion, but a pack-in item so there was a collector's edition for the PS4.
Okay.
Playdead partnered with two companies for it. The first was I Am 8-Bit, which is fair. That company does a lot of stuff like gaming collectibles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The $375 collector's edition included all the stuff you'd expect.
Special figurines, posters,
printed cards, the physical game, a figure of the boy.
Yeah.
And a lifelike silicone replica of the huddle, thanks to the other company that was involved in this deal, Real Doll.
No! Don't ask your parents. Oh my gosh. Seriously?
I'm not making this up.
I mean...
It is sold out.
Oh. Wow. Oh, I'm not even mad at that company for existing. I just don't understand why you'd want to be associated with that image. Well.
So yeah, that's Inside. Thanks, Everett.
And is it really just telling us to remember the freedom that the boy inside of us, the little child inside of us wants the entire time? Like, there's just so many ways to just mess with this premise. All right, so we're not going to get to the huddle in the first live stream hour, but if you want to see how the journey of this strange boy who nobody wants to have survive, you want to see how that journey starts? We'll have our live stream the Thursday after this releases, and alternate Thursdays, you are always invited to our less body horror centered Let's Play of Skies of Arcadia.
I don't know, there was that thing about the crystals coming out of her chest last time.
Okay. Less. I didn't say none.
Less. Okay, yeah.
I said less. So that was a bit of a body horror for sure. All right. So
thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for I'm going to have to go recover somehow. I'm going to recover after this. I hope you guys take some time and recover too.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Hope to catch you at the live stream. Much love to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.